Hi, everybody. I am super excited. Iconic Hour with Renee D has gone to video. Oh my gosh. I've been so excited about delivering this podcast on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now YouTube. So if you want to check it out in video, go to the Iconic Life video channel. Or if you're enjoying my podcast on Spotify, Apple, or iHeartRadio, keep listening there. But either way, I sure would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the podcast so that you never miss an episode.
There will be an original Picasso or two. There'll be a Calder or two. We have galleries from Istanbul, Turkey, Japan, Argentina, UK, Canada, here in the United States, New York, LA, Miami, Denver. It's going to be a well-represented show.
Welcome to Iconic Hour, the podcast version of Iconic Life, a digital luxury lifestyle magazine that celebrates living beautifully. I'm your host and publisher, Renee D. IconicLife.com is truly a curation of the things that I love. Luxury travel, style, design, food, and more importantly, the people behind these fabulous things. I've had the opportunity to interview some amazing people, and I felt so inspired to bring their stories directly to you in their own words. In fact, there's so often a story within every story, and I love sharing my personal experiences too. Iconic Hour is a chance for us to spend time together each week chatting with some of my favorite icons, tastemakers, creators, designers, and entrepreneurs to celebrate the art of living beautifully. So grab your coffee or a glass of wine because it's Iconic Hour. Hi, everybody. Did you know that there is an art fair that's going to be kicking off in Scottsdale, Arizona? It's an art fair a lot like some of the big ones that you hear about around the world, like Art Basel. Today on my podcast, I talked to the co-founder of Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week, Trey Brennen, and one of the strategic partners, our good friend who's a regular on this podcast, Mark Candelaria. Along with Jason Rose, the other co-founder of Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week, this major event kicks off on March 20th and wraps up on the 23rd of March. You will find incredible artwork from incredible artists from around the world, all in one place at WestWorld here in Scottsdale. This luxury event is available to the public and tickets are for sale. The link for tickets is in the show notes. And we're really super excited about what's happening in Scottsdale as it relates to Scottsdale Art Week, because this is really destined to become a major global art event. And it's right in our backyard. So I sure hope you enjoy hearing from Trey Brennen and Mark Candelaria right here. Excited to have Trey Brennen here today, who is the owner of Brennen Fine Art, but also the co-founder of Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week. And we're going to talk about all things art today and this incredible new event. So thanks for joining me on the podcast today, Trey.
Thank you for having me.
So this is really exciting. Scottsdale is an arts community. We love our art galleries here and we love the arts. And so I'm really excited about this new event coming this spring. Can you tell us a little bit more about Scottsdale Art Week?
Sure. We have some of the most creative people in the valley here behind Scottsdale Art Week. The premise is bringing 120 galleries from around the world here, but bringing the art to our community versus bringing tourism to our galleries. It's kind of a different concept. And so Scottsdale Art Week is, our title sponsor is Scottsdale Ferrari. And so it is Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week. And we have wonderful sponsors as Heritage Auctions. They signed a 3-year auction deal. We have UBS. We have just a whole bunch of wonderful entities help pushing us, like Mark, and 6 to 12 people are working for us, helping expose this wonderful event. And it will be a cultural event. We first thought it'd be maybe it's the largest cultural event in the city of Scottsdale. And then that kind of grew into maybe it's going to be the largest in the valley. And now it's kind of surpassed even Arizona. It's going to be the largest cultural event in the Southwest.
Love it. That's going to be fabulous. Yeah. All right. So date-wise, we kick off on
March 20th to 23rd. So it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday event, and it's held at WestWorld.
So basically, if you want to attend, are people buying tickets for multiple days? Are they buying tickets for particular days? How do you get in? And what are some of the VIP experiences that you're offering?
Yeah, so there's many different options. Obviously, there's a general admission for $25, and that's per day. The fare on Thursday is actually a VIP first look. And so from 12 to 5, it's a VIP first look ticket. And then we have our opening night event, which is from 5 to 8 o'clock. And during that event, we'll have kind of a contemporary indigenous style fashion show, an art walk, or kind of a catwalk. And then we also have some programming. We're giving Melissa Cody an award that evening, as well as some other interesting surprises.
Awesome.
But we have a very large group of people that are coming to enjoy our first look.
Okay, so this first look, especially the evening event, sounds a little posh to me. So is this black tie? Is it formal? Is it VIP? A little bit exclusive?
Yeah, I mean, there's some exclusivity to it. But, the point is really exposing our exhibitors, galleries that have come from around the world, to what the best that we can offer as far as buyers, collectors, creatives, artists, enthusiasts, and things of that nature. So it's really just kind of a really nice casual event with a flair.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited. So where did this all begin? How did it start? Where did the idea come from?
So I own a gallery, and I've been in Scottsdale for 25 years. I think I sold my first painting when I was 22, 23 years old. And the business model of being a gallery has changed. We don't have real estate or a lease in Miami and maybe Palm Desert, where the more square footage you have equates to more business. That model, for me, is no longer applicable. What is applicable is going into a market, a very strong market. For instance, I do Southampton, New York in July, and I take my gallery and I take maybe 16 pieces, and I go in there for 1 week. And that 1 week, I grow my book, I sell some artwork, but I'm exposing my stable of artists to 10,000 people.
Right.
Where maybe Scottsdale, I might get 3,000 that walk through that door in a complete year. And so a gallery's role is really to expose the artwork to as many applicable collectors as possible.
Right.
So when you think about an art fair and how productive they are in today's world in the art business, it's almost paramount that you're in them. And so doing the Southampton show for a couple of years, it made no sense to me that it's definitely my favorite community, and I'm not alone, but why doesn't Arizona have a fair like Basel, Scope, Untitled, Southampton, New York, the LA Art Show, Dallas Fine Art Show? And that was the catalyst for us putting energy towards it. And now we're on our way.
It's awesome. Well, I think a lot of us know about Art Basel, and that is kind of, that's an iconic show, and that's something that's been going on for a long time. So you took a look at this model and said, hey, I'd love to put it in my own community, a community that already loves art, a community that already has fabulous, wonderful, wealthy residents, collector residents, but also a lot of tourism too.
Correct.
Of kind of people who are in your right demographic. So from the place where you said, hey, this would be a good idea, to the place that you probably wrote some sort of a check, there was some due diligence, there's some other people that got involved. What does that all look like?
I don't know if I can explain some of it, to be frank. Some of the most successful things that I've been a part of have just really happened with ease. And this is one of them, within reason. I think that one of the first steps was meeting Jason Rose, who owns Rose Allen PR firm, the largest polo championship in the country, right here in Scottsdale. And when we partnered, because of what Jason provides and his know-how and his connections, it really exposed the premise of Scottsdale Art Week to a different level right off the bat. And for me, that was probably one of the smartest things that I could have I could have done without really thinking about. And I was very fortunate. And then beyond that, that week in March, it was available.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That story alone is amazing for
Yeah.
me. One day, and this is a true story, one day I picked up the phone in my gallery and I called WestWorld. And the director of their sales department is a gentleman by the name of Austin Unger. And when he said Unger, my brain went straight to Fred Unger. And that was what I asked. I said, any relation to Fred Unger? And of course he did. I'm a big fan of Fred.
Me too.
And it turns out that I sold Fred and his family one of his last paintings before he passed away. And Austin at the time says, well, that's the painting that my family's fighting over. And he was joking, but they liked the painting. And that created just kind of a casual conversation. The next day, Austin told me that there was something available. It was the third week in March, which in my mind is the best week during the best month of our valley here. So I took it.
So it is an incredible time. So I'm going to add just a kind of a fun little programming note here in this podcast. So I used to think that the biggest traffic month at Scottsdale Private Airport was January because of Barrett-Jackson or because of Phoenix Open, which is what I still call it. And with a lot of research, I have learned that March is the biggest month for private jet traffic into Scottsdale because of another big thing that's happening in our community, which is spring training.
That's right.
So you've got a lot of people traveling from around the country coming here for spring training, which is really exciting. And again, a lot of the people in your demographic, you've certainly got spectacular weather. Couldn't be better in March. Right. So for an event that's got some outdoor components, it's perfect. Well, so let's go back a little bit too. So at Iconic Life magazine, we know Jason Rose as well. He's a mover and shaker. Yes. He's a big event guy. He's not afraid of big events, and he's an executor. He knows how to do these things. You know, there's a lot of pieces to a big event like this. So when you and Jason got together, when you brought this idea to him, did he instantly love it? I mean, I know he's kind of a big collector too.
He is. He's a very big collector. He loves to tell the story that the first day that we met, we had a letter of intent the following day. It was executed the day after that. And if Jason were telling this story, he would say that Trey was going to be a partner with me if he liked it or not. He was so into the idea.
Yeah.
And, when I presented Scottsdale Art Week and what it could do for our community, all Jason thought was this huge creative event that he is already involved with in his personal life, in his professional life, and it was just kind of synergy.
Yeah.
Me being a gallery owner, I'm a little bit more subdued. I think a little bit more myopically than he does. And so it was really productive. And I'm telling you, that was the best decision thus far, or one of many, but that was the first good decision was Jason. And he was open to it. And not only was he open to it, he was excited about it.
Yeah.
And excitement for me breeds energy, and energy creates energy. And so it was meant to be.
Yeah, totally agree with that. So when did that conversation happen? Was that
a year and a half ago?
Okay, a year and a half ago. All right. So now you guys have an idea, you've got a plan, and you're going to take it out to the community.
Yep.
What I know from you is that the two of you didn't say, "Oh, we're just going to do this ourselves. We're going to pull other people in."
That's right.
So what did that journey look like?
Yeah. So a first-time art fair, and it's really important that people understand what an art fair is. Okay. A fair isn't a weekend artist event where there might be a tent or two and drape and pole. This is a full-blown production. They use the term fair because it's common, but what it really is galleries from around the world converging in one spot. And we're building solid 10-foot walls that are coming on 9 semi-trucks from the Midwest with track lighting. I mean, it's a production.
Yeah.
And so the idea of the fair, it's a big exercise. But what we didn't have experience in the art world or in the art fair business. And that sometimes can prevent you from even starting because galleries in New York or London, they want a proven business model. What are you bringing to the table? Why would we spend $100,000? And that's a guess. I don't know what they're spending logistically and their accommodations and the actual booth costs. Why would we come to this market and invest in somebody we don't know?
Right.
Right.
Can I add a quick thing for my podcast listeners too?
Sure.
So you just said something that's really important here. So we work with a lot of galleries, and we've got galleries that do art shows, and one in Orange County that does a lot of shows. And I never really thought about what it takes to go to a show. You know, because you've been going to the Southampton show. But in order to go to these shows, you've got to take your valuable artwork that can't be damaged.
That's right.
And you've got to pack it up. You've got to crate it up. You've got to ship it. I ship magazines. They're a lot like, they're heavy in the world of mail, but they don't compare to artwork. So you're shipping this heavy artwork, you're using the crates. It takes a ton of money to get all that stuff there. And you've got to be super careful to make sure that it arrives in great shape.
That's right.
Then you've got to get it all set up. And then a couple days later when the show's over, you've got to reverse the whole process. So for everybody to not underestimate the fact that that is an expensive proposition. And so the reason people wanted to really have faith in you is in order for them to come participate, they are spending a lot of money to get here.
They needed to see the value.
Yeah.
Right. And there is some blind trust involved. But I was always under the impression that Scottsdale will do all of the heavy lifting, right? A lot of people want to be in our valley or in our city during that part of the year. We call it the wealth of the West during that month or that 3 months. And naively, I said, we're just going to say Scottsdale, and they're going to want to be here. Of course, that was inaccurate. But, that just shows or illustrates how much I love my city and my valley here.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of education to others around the world about our city, about what it actually can provide for exposure to a gallery, or the amount of affluence that really comes, if not investing in our market, at least traveling to it. And we're not all cowboys and Indians, and cactus. Though we celebrate all of that, we're a heck of a lot more diverse than that. Architecturally, we're diverse. With all of our cultural programming, just in civic arenas, it's very diverse.
Oh, yeah. We're a sophisticated city now.
We really are.
Yeah.
And it's growing rapidly. And if we just talk about growth to somebody that's not familiar with our market, by the end of the phone call, regardless if they exhibit or not, they're planning a trip here no matter what.
Yeah.
And so we are helping tourism indirectly if they come and participate or not, because we are screaming very loud about the benefits and all of the gems that our state has to offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we talk about it every day.
Yeah. Okay. So now Scottsdale Art Week, Scottsdale Art Fair is not going to be what it is without a bunch of great galleries coming into town and wonderful galleries. So I know you've been curating your list very carefully. So what was the process? I mean, you talked a little bit about the process of getting people here. Once people started saying yes, I'm going to assume that there was somewhat of a snowball effect. Who's coming? What can we expect to see when this opens its doors on the 20th of March?
Sure. So, right now we have 7 countries represented, and we're very proud of that, and that will actually grow. But we are still talking to galleries and dealers around the world, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to automatically commit to all of these spaces. We want room for some of the biggest examples of what diversity is. Some of the biggest galleries in the world, we're bringing a few of them here. There will be an original Picasso or two. There'll be a Calder or two. There'll be T.C. Cannon for contemporary indigenous. And then, of course, representation of historical work, contemporary abstracts. It'll be a very diverse lot for the creative consumer for artwork. And it's growing fast. But we have galleries from Istanbul, Turkey, Japan, Argentina, UK, Canada, here in the United States, New York, LA, Miami, Denver, Michigan, Florida. It's going to be a well-represented show. But it's going to be also heavily curated by the actual exhibitor themselves. We'll probably release our exhibitor list here in about 4 weeks, which is common. Because when we have critical mass, and we're already there, but we really want to articulate what we're doing and what we're presenting, but we want a complete picture.
Yeah,
and we're very, very close to that. In fact, Mark and I were just talking that usually between Christmas and maybe mid-January, the holiday hangover is a real thing in the art world, and we anticipated this would be a dead time for us. It's the exact opposite. I wouldn't know if it was a snowball, but it's probably tripled or quadrupled in energy of everybody wanting to be here right now.
That's awesome.
It is.
So, I mean, I know that your people are kind of joining with you on a daily basis, but what would you expect? I mean, is it a handful of galleries? Is it thousands of galleries? Where is it in there?
We'll be at 100 galleries plus.
That's awesome.
From around the world.
Well, that's going to be an amazing show. I know that in pulling this whole thing together, you and Jason got together, created the vision, created the execution, but that it takes other talented people and other people that are well-known in the art world to kind of make something like this happen. So who else joined in on this whole effort? Yeah,
one of our first real acquisitions and help that we needed is somebody that has done this before successfully. Michael Plummer, who is, we brought him on to be our development director. He's a New Yorker. He helped found TFAF New York, which came from Maastricht. And that's one of the most elevated art fairs in the world. And his level of commitment to structure and how to execute a fair is really fascinating. And we're learning every day. So Michael was really the first big acquisition for us for helping us push this sled up the hill. The second was Ben Ginocchio in New York. He was the director of the Armory in 2019. He's also a New York Times art critic. And so from what was available at the time, we actually felt that we hit the lottery.
Yeah.
And they've really helped push this forward. In the meantime, we've also grabbed Southampton, New York Art Fair's, their director, Donna Thiel. So now she's
somebody that you knew.
That's right. And so she wanted to come with a new, younger, energetic fair. And that's exactly what we're doing. But we have more talent involved with Scottsdale Art Week than I don't think I could have even dreamt of. And that's the truth.
Well, congratulations on that. It's
Thank
great. You know, when you want to do something well and you want to go big with something, it's great when you can work with people who have done it before, who have a roadmap, who have the relationships, who have the ability, just like you said, to see some of the blind spots and to really execute. So in addition to artwork, what else will we see during Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week?
You're going to see, of course, you just said it in the name, you're going to see a Ferrari or two.
That's artwork, by the way.
It certainly is. I'm a car fanatic, so I couldn't be more tickled by having Ferrari involved. But you're going to see a fashion show every day, if not two. On maybe Thursday, you'll have a kind of a contemporary indigenous fashion show. But we'll have one every day. We're flying out an opera singer from New York. We have cultural programming. Our first look VIP event from 5 to 8 on Thursday evening is actually benefiting the ASU Museum, Arizona State University. And Mickey, the director of that museum, she's going to be talking about Collecting 101. I don't know if that's a Friday or Saturday, but
she's great. I've met her before. Yeah, very interesting.
She is, and I think she was the former director of the Santa Barbara Contemporary Museum. She is a dynamite entity in the art world, and couldn't be more happy that she's involved. But Phoenix Art Museum is going to be talking at the, I think that's on Saturday. But we also have the Heard Museum involved, Scottsdale Arts, everybody that you would assume that you would be honored to have involved, they're all involved.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's between the amount of artwork that one's going to be able to experience and buy, of course, and some of the cultural programming, the fashion shows and the opera, and maybe a little bit of energy throughout the day through a VIP lounge, and it'll be a cultural event that should be experienced by all. Really
exciting. So that's exactly what I want to talk about. So as far as the who should attend, so certainly if you are a collector, this is going to be the place to be. If you're interested in artwork and you understand artwork, this is the place to be. If you are not a collector and you don't understand artwork, and let's say maybe you're even slightly intimidated by artwork, I still feel like this is a place you should be. Let's talk to those people. What will they find and why should they go?
A little bit of everything. That's what they're going to find. I think indirectly, we're all creatives on some level. We can certainly appreciate somebody else's creativity. And if you can't appreciate it, well, let's go experience it, because that's how you learn how to appreciate it. And so art fairs or fine art, it's traditionally a two-dimensional or a three-dimensional item. We're going to have a lot of that. And so visually, it'll be an overstimulating exercise. And that is something all by itself that should just be experienced. But you compound that with all of the possible curation or the cultural programming and the education process that, they'll be on a stage talking about their experiences. And that's for the individual that loves to learn about culture. But just by default, experiencing all of this, it shouldn't be intimidating. It should kind of fill the tank.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm a little biased because I'm in the business. But when you design or think about philosophically, what should an art fair or something of this magnitude, what should it really give a viewer? There isn't one specific thing. It should be an experience that really hits on many different levels.
Yes.
And if you're an automotive fan, you're going to find something interesting. If you don't even know you're a fine art fan, you're going to find something that moves you on some level. That I guarantee it. And that's kind of fun to watch others. And that's I have 2 daughters at home. And one of the things we always talk about is playful. I'd like to be a fly on the wall for that 8 hours and just watch people breathe it in and see how they react. I've been in the art business for 25 years. I've seen people cry. I've seen people angry. I've seen people just fall with happy just because they're moved by something two-dimensional or three-dimensional. And this is kind of the same experience, but magnified 1,000 times over.
Yeah, and as you're saying, your different senses are going to get hit in different ways because some of it's going to be flat, some of it's going to be 3D.
That's right.
It's going to be very experiential. And so for people that maybe feel, I feel like we always hear this, and there's really no reason for it because the Scottsdale galleries, I think, are the friendliest galleries I have ever been in. Every gallery owner, is excited to have you come in and see what's available. And so for anybody who feels like, gosh, this could be a little intimidating, when you go to Scottsdale Art Week, this is an opportunity to be with a lot of people, which should take that feeling away. Come have fun, experience what's there, try something new, experience something new. And you never know, how it may turn out for you and what may happen next.
Yeah, with my I'm going to refer to my daughters again. How many opportunities do you have, just as an individual, middle-aged, that you can go see artwork from a gallery in Spain, London, Turkey, just around the world in an afternoon?
Right.
You can't.
Yeah.
And that is very interesting to a 7 and a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
They can't fathom it, that these entities are coming to us. And you said it before, it is a lot of work to bring a large body of paintings or sculptures from around the world here. Sometimes it costs just as much as the booth did.
Right.
And it's a big commitment these galleries are taking. And so, but I believe in the community that we've developed, help pushing Scottsdale Art Week up the hill. We know that our community will support it. We know that it will provide sustenance for these exhibitors that are not real familiar with Scottsdale Art Week, and we're very excited for all of that.
Yeah. I'm going to have to guess that you're probably really excited in some ways. You're excited to go, but you're excited for the other side of it when it's over, for the people who've come and trusted and exhibited who are going to say, wow, that was really great. And so there will be the people that decided to maybe not do it this year, maybe they'll do it next year, see how it turned out. Those are the people that are going to go, wow, that really was what they said it was going to be.
Yeah. We have a very impressive list of exhibitors that I think we would very honored that were here that couldn't commit to year one, but already have for year two. Wait till after the first year. That list will probably quadruple.
Well, it's a really exciting time. So let's wrap this up by talking about some of the other people who got involved. So You've got a number of sponsors. You've got some other strategic partners as well. Tell me who else is involved in this process and what does that look like?
One of them is right here, Mark Candelaria, our area's most, I can't say prolific because I don't think that's the right word, but successful architects, which I'm a huge fan of, and privileged that he wanted to take a stab at being part of the team. And he's helped tremendously. But we also have Amy Goss. Amy Goss was a marketing director for a five title art publication, and she's now our assistant director. And she has moved mountains in the last couple months. And then we also have Joshua Rose, who was editor for the same five magazine in Santa Fe. And so he's been traveling the country to these fairs with me, kind of introducing Scottsdale Art Week to all of these other exhibitors in Miami, LA, New York, and Santa Fe. And then we also have, of course, Jason and his PR firm, who we couldn't do any of this without. And that's a fairly large entity. I know I'm forgetting somebody.
So Phoenix Home and Garden is involved?
They are. We had probably 60 or 70 business lunches in the last year and a half, and I don't eat lunch. And so I gained 15 pounds. But in this lunch, before we even ordered our lunch or our entree, they wanted to be part of the ownership group, and they followed through, and they own a quarter of our company, and they've helped again move mountains for us, and we couldn't pick a better partner. It's obviously that's Phoenix Home and Garden, and Phoenix Magazine, and they're owned by a company out of Kansas City. And it's been a very synergetic relationship thus far. We're very privileged to have them on board. But we also have Emily Dietrich. She owns, we call them strategic investors if they take a percent. She owns Raymar Panels, which is kind of a high-end art supply panel for artists. And she has a list over 30,000. It's a magnificent entity. And she's a lovely person too. So we have Mark, we have Emily, Amy, myself, Jason, and Phoenix Home and Garden. and Phoenix Magazine, and that's our ownership group. And then our sponsorship group is very deep. And it's growing fast.
And we'll have a list of those sponsors attached to this podcast too. But certainly a big thank you to Scottsdale Ferrari for being the title sponsor of the event. That's
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're quite tickled and privileged and honored that they are the tip of the spear for us. Yeah. And they were on there from day one.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Trey, I will be there. I'm super excited about this event. Thanks for being part of the podcast. We're going to chat with Mark and we're going to see what his perspective is from this front row seat that he's got.
Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Excited to have my good friend Mark Candelaria join me today. He is a strategic partner for Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week and a regular guest on my podcast, sometimes even interviews me on my own podcast, which is great. But we love doing this together, so thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Great way to start the year, right?
Great way to start the year. So we always have so much to talk about, but today we're going to talk about Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week, and we're just going to talk about, we heard some stuff from Trey about, how it came to be, and what an exciting event this is going to be. How did you get involved?
Actually, Anita Lang got me involved, and I thank her. She told me about the whole fair and what was happening, and I said, I want to be involved in this. This is just something totally different from everything I normally do. Yeah. And I'm a big art lover, and obviously my clients are huge art collectors.
Yes.
And so I thought, strategically, this is a smart thing for me to get involved in. So she's the one that kind of introduced me to Trey. I knew Jason Rose, and was actually at a party where we all kind of met and started talking about it, and it just kind of weaved my way in. So I happened to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. Well, and you're so connected to so many people. So, great for you to be in very early on something that's probably going to grow to be a great event. So I would imagine one of the things you were thinking about when you heard about it is this thing is going to grow. So even, there's the personal interest side, and then there's also kind of the investment side.
Sure. Yeah, no, I was definitely interested in the personal side. It was a whole new group of people that I just have never really interfaced with. And, I always like how that branches out into different things. And then the fact it was with art and just something at the ground level. It's very rare you get invited to something at the ground level like this that I truly believe is going to just explode.
Yeah, it's the perfect market for it, really. If you think about it, Scottsdale, I've always thought, I think the world knows this, or maybe it's just me, that, Scottsdale's already a great art market. We've got our gallery district with amazing art, and it used to be, more specific, and now we've got such diverse artwork. Again, as Trey was talking about, we've got galleries that are representing artists from, Tokyo and Hong Kong, and we've got modern artists.
It's not just Western art anymore.
Yeah, it's not just Western art anymore.
We're growing up big time. That's
very sophisticated. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I feel like Scottsdale Ferrari Art Week is going to be something that's going to help us really better understand how diverse we've become as it relates to art. So you're watching this event start from scratch, right? From day one of we kind of got an idea here to, this is going to be a big, big deal over at WestWorld. So what are you seeing along this journey?
Well, it's been fun because we meet every Thursday as a team and go through all the logistics. And it's just interesting to see how we kind of started at a macro level back in June, July of last year. And today's call was at 10 o'clock this morning, and we're talking about what champagne we're going to be serving at the opening event. That's how far it's gone in just a short period of time. But like you said, we got over 100 galleries from around the world now. There's going to be a lot more there. And that was one thing that I know you asked Trey is, why would I go to this event if I'm not into art? And I just think it's going to be, it's like the Phoenix Open, as you call it, waste management. I think 2/3 of the people go to that event, they don't even realize it's a golf tournament.
Agree. Right? Yeah, agree. Yeah.
And so they go there for the social factor, for all these other factors. And I think there's a big aspect of that whole way of looking at this. It's not just to look at art, which I just got back from Santa Fe, and we spent a whole day on Canyon Road.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just if you really allow yourself, you just lose yourself because this artwork is so incredible. And I just think it's a neat experience to go do something like that. It's totally different. Yeah, go to a football game, go to a golf, but to spend 2 or 3 days in the art world, what a different and unique way to do something different.
Absolutely. And, it's kind of getting out of your comfort zone too. So that's
what I like about it.
Yeah. Some people are accustomed to doing this all the time. They're very accustomed to looking at art. Some people it's very new and even foreign to. And as Trey was mentioning, and I know you've experienced this too, the thing with art is it can move your soul in a way that
Right.
you never knew, and you don't know until you go do it. You don't know what's going to move you.
Right.
You don't know what you're going to love until you get there. But I mean, how do you feel? What do you think is the approachability of an event like this
In terms of
for people to attend? Like, do you feel? I mean, people should feel very welcomed and feel comfortable.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something, like I said, totally different. But I think not only the visual and emotional aspect of seeing art, but there's going to be such an amazing social aspect. You're going to have people flying in from all over the world that are art collectors that are going to be at this event. And so I just think the opportunities to meet certain people or socialize, it's going to be something totally unique. You would never encounter these people in any other safe, comfortable way.
Right.
So, I mean, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right here in our backyard. That to me is what is so neat, is how this city, I've lived here 40 years, and what's happening here just in the last 5 years is unbelievable.
Mind-blowing.
Right?
It's
Don't you agree?
mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
It's happening so fast.
Yeah.
That's what's so amazing. And this is just another aspect that's making the city on the level of, I think Phoenix is going to be on the level of New York, Miami. We're not just podunk Phoenix with WestWorld, or not WestWorld, but the westernmost city, or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
We're growing up big time.
Absolutely. And it's interesting too, because, you and I've talked about this before. So when I moved out here, people I literally had friends who were like, Arizona, that's where it's kind of near California. It's almost like people didn't understand what was happening out here. And now, we are multiple different measures, but as, the fifth largest city in America, that's huge. Like, who would have ever thought our little Phoenix would be the fifth largest city in America?
Yeah.
And we are the 10th largest metro area. And, when you look at all the things that have come over the last several decades, from increase in arts, restaurants, resorts,
Well, I look what's
fashion,
happened with my
retail.
houses. My houses used to be, $1-2 million house used to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, now we're doing I'm doing $150 million house right now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's changed completely.
Yeah.
So.
And I think the world has found Arizona now. So now it's not just that people in the Southwest are moving to Phoenix or people from the Midwest are moving to Phoenix. I think we're on the world stage now, and people are watching what we're doing.
It's events like this that even amplify that further.
Yes, absolutely. And I know, knowing the people, including you, who are involved in putting this event together, we have no small thinkers that are on board here. Yeah. So I know that behind the scenes, you're all talking about how this becomes one of the biggest and most exciting art fairs. And we use the word fair lightly. Art exhibitions, art experiences, on the planet.
Right. I think that's what's been really fascinating is, like I said, we're talking about things that are going to happen this year, but there's a lot of things that go into the decision making of how it's going to affect things 5-10 years from now in these meetings. And it's really fascinating to see this whole thing just blossom.
Yeah. Can you share any of that? Like, what would be some of the things that we wouldn't think about?
Just the way they're looking at every exhibitor, who it's going to be, how they're going to react to the different events, the different experiences. And they're just thinking, okay, how does this happen 2 years from now, 3 years from now? So every little decision, they're looking at it from a long-term perspective.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, that's what makes it built to last. Mm-hmm. What is one of the biggest things you've learned by being involved with this group?
For me, it's always how much I don't know. I just love
me too, by the way.
I love being involved in things where it's like, wow, I've always wondered about this, but and I love to collect art, and art's an amazing investment. It's one of those things like cars and art, and people just don't think about it, and it's intimidating because what piece of art am I going to buy? So there's just so much you can learn from being a part of this, and that's what I'm enjoying, and I'm enjoying the synergy, just watching the dynamics of this group of people work. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jason Rose is a very powerful guy.
Yeah.
And then you just met with Trey, and what an amazing guy he is.
Yeah.
So it's cool to watch the synergy of this team work together, and they're doing a great job.
That's awesome. Well, a lot of movers and shakers and people that are not afraid of doing something big,
right?
Not holding back. Like the sky is really
they definitely let you know what they're thinking.
Yeah.
No one's shy in this group.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. And let's wrap this up by saying, what are you, so it's soon to be March 20th. What are you most looking forward to?
I actually catch myself visualizing myself through this event already almost every day. I can't wait for it. I just think it's going to be so cool. and just a totally different energy from a golf tournament or a football game or spring training. I just think it's something so different with such an amazing group of people, creative people. I just think it's going to be a fascinating 4 days.
It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I will see you there. I mean, I'm going to see you before that, but I
hope
I
so.
look forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a lot of fun. I definitely want to spend time with you and Isabel and I going through the fair.
Can't wait.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
Good. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me on Iconic Hour with Renee D. I appreciate you being here. If you want to make sure that you never miss an episode, make sure to subscribe. And if you're enjoying what I'm doing, please rate and review this podcast. If you want more information on Scottsdale Art Week, go to scottsdaleartweek.com. Until next time, see you soon.